What's up guys, Phoenix here. In this video we're going to be talking about another new card spoiled from Raging Tempest, the set that comes out after Invasion of Venom in the OCG or after Invasion Vengeance for us in the TCG. We should be getting this set sometime around January, February, March area of 2017. Ooh, oh man, that really hurt to say, saying that year. Oh, we're actually really close. Oh man. Oh no, the years are going by so quickly. But anyway, card in question. As you see on screen, Brave Eyes Pendulum Dragon, and this is actually a card that I think is really neat, it's really cool, and I actually really like what it does, ultimately. But its requirements are a Pendulum Dragon monster plus a Warrior monster, and its effect is, when this card is fusion summoned, you can make the attack of all monsters your opponent currently controls become 0. Also, other monsters you control cannot attack for the rest of this turn. Negate the activated effects of all monsters with 0 attack. At the end of damage step, when this card attacks an opponent's monster, but the opponent's monster was not destroyed by battle, you can banish that opponent's monster. So, this thing just has generic 3,000 over 2,000 stats, and it's a level 8 dragon fusion type monster, obviously. So, I actually really like this card. It's basically just another target for Odd Eyes Fusion that you can summon, which is really cool. And it requires a Pendulum Dragon monster, which is actually just really kind of specific. I'm kind of really interested that it didn't say Odd Eyes monster, in the essence that, like, you could have used Odd Eyes Fusion straight out of the gate to summon this card, but you do have to have, like, Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon, which is kind of unfortunate. It kind of restricts it a tiny bit, but it is still definitely usable. And then it just requires a Warrior type monster, which you could use with, Odd Eyes Fusion's, claws to use monster from your extra deck. You could actually just send a Warrior, like Xyz monster or Synchro monster or something from your extra deck to the graveyard, or a Pendulum monster that was, a Warrior that's in there. Whether or not you have any of those in your deck, well, that's definitely a different issue. But I think this card's really cool. It basically has a Utopia Beyond-like effect against, the Cosmo matchup, making all their monsters 0. Now, it does prevent you from attacking with other monsters, meaning that you're not going to be able to do, like, some saucy Odd Eyes Pendulum Dragon plays over them and attacking for 5k. But, I mean, still, it does a lot for itself, because it is a 3k beater that will just immediately hit for 3k over monsters. And then it negates the effects of, every other monster that has 0 attack. And notice it doesn't actually say on field, it says negate the activated effects of all monsters with 0 attack. So, when the effect is activated of the monster, whether or not the monster stays on the board or not, say it's something like Cosmo Tin Can that naturally has 0 attack, this will just negate that effect. This can just negate it straight out, so it can't, tag up or down into either, higher monsters or lower monsters. So I don't know if it's specifically, like, going to be worth playing in any Pendulum variant that we get in the future. Like, whether or not Sky Iris and the Odd Eyes cards will even be relevant is also just another complete issue. But I ultimately really like this card. It also just banishes cards, which is really neat as well. Now, I don't know what instance. The third effect really seems like it conflicts. I don't know what instance you would have of you summoning this card and not making all their monsters 0. I don't know what instance that would be. And I also don't know, like, when you would use that effect and then have your opponent's monster not die in battle. That's something else I don't know. But I mean, I guess this would be useful against things like 7 Sins, and, like, if your opponent is playing Blue Eyes and they have, like, Return of the Dragon Lords engraved to protect the monster from dying. Like, there is that as options. I'm definitely not, unaware of those, but basically against Maestro type effects, I don't see that effect ever being useful, but it is useful in the fact that you do have it. You can make their monster 0, attack it for 3k, and then if it protects itself with something or is protected by something else, then you can just banish it. So that seems pretty cool. But ultimately, like I said, I have no idea whether or not this card is going to see play in the Pendulum decks. I just think it's a very valid Odd Eyes Fusion target, because every reason you have for running Utopia Beyond should be a reason to run this card. If Cosmos is still a driving force of the format, or hell, even if Cosmos isn't that much of a driving force or like that much of a presence, it's still just very good at doing what it's doing, because you can just make an entire board of monsters 0s and then make it to where none of them can use their effects on your next turn. Like, you can actually use this against established boards, and that's actually really good. Like, if your opponent has an established board of like tons of things that you can't necessarily deal with, you can Odd Eyes Fusion into this card for basically free, and then it makes all their attacks 0, and then they can't activate their effects while they're still on the board because their attacks are still at 0. And the attack loss is permanent, and the negation effect is just continuous. It just happens. It doesn't like have a once per turn clause on it or anything like that. It's just negate the activated effects of all monsters with 0 attack. So you can actually make this into a huge board and effectively stun your opponent for a turn until you can correct. There's multiple different interactions this card could have. I really like what it is and what it does overall. Now, whether or not it sees play, because again, it's not like a Pendulum Fusion monster. That would have been really cool if we had gotten a Pendulum Fusion monster at some point, because then that would be something, you know, we could utilize as well. Instead of playing Odd Eyes Rebellion Dragon, we could have another Odd Eyes Fusion target that could be used as the material for Odd Eyes Fusion for like Vortex. That would have been really neat. But ultimately, hopefully we do end up getting a Pendulum Fusion in the future. That'd be really cool, since we already have Pendulum Xyz and Pendulum Synchro. But that's basically all I really have to say about this card. I think this card's really cool, as I've already said, and I don't know whether or not it'll see play, but then again, whether or not it sees play is going to be due to how the format is shaped up in February when we get this card, as well as whether or not the, you know, Skyris cards are worth playing in Pendulums anymore, or whether or not we'll just be so far ahead of that, because we will have the DDD structure deck by then. So that just might be the reigning Pendulum deck of 2017, because like it just seems leaps and bounds better than everything we currently have, and that's something that is really, really cool, and it's a really complicated deck that really rewards the better player as well. That's something I do really like about DDDs, but that's a topic for a completely different video. As always, guys, I want to know what you guys think about this card in the comments down below. Other than that, like, comment, subscribe to all the nonsense you usually do. Links are in the description to my Facebook pages and all that other sort of nonsense, background music, playlist, Twitch links, all that. You can use any of those links for whatever you want to use them for. Basically, just use them to the best of your ability, because that's what they're there for. They're there as a resource for you guys. But again, let me know what you guys think about this card in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. Give this video a like if you like the content I've been producing. If you like the stuff I do and think you know people that would also like the stuff I do, feel free to share my stuff around. Trying to grow my subscriber count substantially, trying to make the community of people that I reach bigger, and ultimately just potentially use that as a fuel to produce more and better content in the future. All that sort of nonsense. But other than that, thank you all for watching, and as always, guys, take care.